Bonnie shook herself. She had definitely been on her own too long, and if her brain was functioning as it should, she'd be able to do something about this ridiculous and not entirely appropriate obsession. "Paige, get up!" Paige rolled over. "I am up," she replied groggily. "Looks like it. You know we have to leave for your grand's house in half an hour, and you haven't even showered yet." "I can shower there. There's nothing else to do." "She said last week that she was going to get some DVDs for you." "That pile of crap she picks up from the market stall. Most of those films were made before I was born." "Maybe they were, but they would be things you wanted to see if you'd give her some sort of clue what you're into." "Ugh." Paige pushed herself to sit. "It's not my fault her voice turns into a boring noise after 2 seconds of speech." "That's my mother you're talking about." "Yeah, that's where you get your boring voice from then." Bonnie's eyebrows knitted together. The urge to smack her daughter's legs still rose from time to time, despite the fact that Paige was far too old. But then she took a deep breath and gathered all her dignity. "Well, it almost certainly means you'll have a boring voice too." She turned to leave, giving the frozen poster Holden one last longing glance. "If you're not at the table in 10 minutes, you're going without breakfast." "Woo, big deal." Paige's voice faded as Bonnie trudged through to the kitchen. "So, what time are you going to rescue me from Jeannie's?" Paige mumbled through a mouthful of cornflakes. "Don't call her Jeannie. It's Grandma or Gran or Nan or something similar to you." "She likes Jeannie. She says Gran makes her feel like an old lady." "No, she doesn't. You decided that." Paige looked up and flashed a lopsided grin. Dark brown eyes, olive skin, thick black hair, cheeks just a little too plump for the thinness of her face, but somehow it worked. It was at times like this when Bonnie realised just how much Paige looked like her dad, and not really like Bonnie at all. Maybe she had Cartwright in the build, curvy but just on the right side of slim, but everything else was Henri's. She pushed the thought to the back of her mind. Paige's dad had left them and gone back to France, and he was never coming back. "Nanas are supposed to be all sensible anyway, like bake your cakes and stuff," Paige continued. "Jeannie doesn't do any of that, so why would I call her Nana?" "There is no rule that says Nanas have to do anything. They're still people with their own likes and interests." "Well," Paige continued stubbornly, "I don't know anyone else at school whose nan moshes to Motorhead, or pulls out Ouija boards to contact dead rock stars. I bet all their grandparents have some unusual hobby or habit if you ask them. People aren't always what they seem on the surface. Now eat your breakfast. I'm late enough as it is." The autumn wind swirled leaves up the drive and around Bonnie's feet as she hurried to Jeannie's front door, dragging a reluctant Paige behind her. She rapped on the door with an impatient fist, stamping and huffing as she waited. Bonnie had always loved this house, and despite her annoyance at running late this morning, she couldn't help a sweeping glance at the garden, noticing with affection the gnarled, stunted old pear tree that she used to play under with her dad, and that, much to her dad's annoyance, never seemed to bear more than the stingiest handful of pears. And there were the same old rose bushes, where she had collected the delicate pink petals to make perfume for her mum. It never smelt like any perfume that Bonnie had ever sniffed while out shopping with her parents, but her mum had always taken the reused shampoo bottle full of water and mushed-up petals, not to mention the odd unfortunate squashed bug, with a fond smile. Life had seemed so simple back then, apart from some of her mum's odder hobbies, though Bonnie suspected, looking back, it was only her youth that had made it seem so. Then Henri had walked into her life one day, or rather, she had wandered into his while on a holiday to the Vendée as he backpacked across France, and it seemed that things had been complicated, in one way or another, ever since. "Hey, Paige, how's my favourite granddaughter?" Jeannie opened the door with a broad smile, pushing a blonde dreadlock from her forehead. "I'm your only granddaughter," Paige said, pushing past her into the hallway.